6:31, call the meeting to order. Any modifications, changes to the agenda?
The only thing we have is we have a bunch of stuff from Memorial Day from the Legion, and we have the ladies from the American Legion Auxiliary. Wasn't it can go probably in as part of this.
It's like 5.5 or something?
Yeah, but it basically goes along with them, but they always have to handle their own permit because they have their own tent. So.
Okay. Any other? I don't see anybody here from the public comment. Move on to review approved minutes for March 25th, 2025, and the trustees meeting and nominations.
I looked them over, I didn't see anything missing.
I have no problem.
Take a motion to accept them.
You make a motion.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, now we got a motion to approve annual dairy festival application from the Lions Club. Looks like it's about the same as every other year.
I move we approve.
All right, Sam moved.
I second that.
Or Heather.
Oh.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Don't oppose.
I was like, what? American Legion park request for Rolling Thunder. Another year of Rolling Thunder.
Yeah.
Looks like they're gonna add another portalet themselves.
Yeah, that's what it says. So that we'll give them a,
Yeah.
we do 2 portalets, right?
One of the parts.
One in the park.
One in the park and one over here. We do a handicap portalet in the park and then a regular portalet over here.
Right. I don't know why I remember visualizing 2.
Because I think for events, other people will bring them in and sometimes they keep them there longer, but we only do one there and then one over here.
I mean, that makes sense, like, yeah.
And they may have brought them in for June 30.
All
Yeah, I
right.
think they're bringing a lot for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do we think about the Rolling Thunder request?
I think that's a good idea. Make
I
a
move-
motion to accept it.
All right.
I second waive the fee.
All right, we moved and seconded to accept waiving the fee. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Wait, I'm sorry, I have to photocopy it. If you want to look through, that's the auxiliary one.
Yeah, it looks like a attachment to the Rolling Thunder, bake sale and stuff.
So they're setting up a canopy tent, so we gotta make sure we do the big safe and all that, looks like. They're gonna take it down. How you doing? Come around nice. Doing any walking or anything?
Walking. No walker, no cane.
Turn our programs in the office the other day.
Is there a fee associated with that one?
No, generally no.
Typically, we waive the fee.
Thanks, Andy.
Maybe even
an audience.
Oh, we should. Somebody's gotta keep us in line.
Alright,
Move to accept.
wait a second.
Waive fee.
Alright, moved and accepted,
So,
or moved and seconded, if I can say the right word. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And we have American Legion Park request for Memorial Day ceremony. I believe it's the same as they usually do.
I move again, waive the fee.
Is there a second?
A second.
The other seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Alright, let's discuss the installation and actually, are we gonna talk about possibly making a motion to let the admins approve park use?
I think we have to change our park use ordinance for that, because it's in there saying that it has to go for the board, so I don't think you probably make a motion that we can adjust it, but then we're gonna have to probably have Jess Bugby help us with the wording to change it, and then we can do that.
And then we'll approve it, and then it's a 60
Yeah,
day,
post
45-day, I think, comment period where we have to post it for the public to comment on.
so it probably would be good to get it started.
Yeah.
It's a long process.
I think it's just as well off that we can approve these administratively and then they can just kind of be the managers report it. Like, here's what's coming up, park use.
Mm-hmm.
They do, if you want to, because once they're approved, I sign off on them, and then we have like a formal letter that we send everybody, and then I send it via email and like send one to the zoning office, Ken LaPlante. I can kind of send them as they're approved to you guys as well too.
That sounds
if you
good.
want
Yeah.
it that way, because I'm already sending the email out. I just add you guys to it.
Yep.
No, that sounds good.
So you want me to, I don't think I a motion now, I probably would just, I would talk to Jesse,
Yep.
get the verbiage, figure out what we need to do, and then bring it next meeting and
Yeah.
present it, and then you could approve it then we'd start that whole
Sold.
ordinance adoption.
That sounds good.
Sounds great.
Wow.
Alright, discuss the installation and location of speed bumps and bollards / flower pots.
So, I mean, I'm guessing we're gonna go back to Orchard Street, from my understanding, the residents are
Yes, I'm pretty
Ready.
pleased.
pleased and ready.
Yep.
Unfortunately, we'll have some other issues right now, so it's probably gonna be a little bit, before we get those installed, but, the only other request, again, Ed and I were discussing, pretty sure we have one or two sets left of the faster speed bumps, the 25 and under. Got a lot of requests from Pleasant Street. I know we talked last year of putting one, I guess, somewhere around Heather's house, but then we held off because of so much construction. You know, like everybody's like super miserable. So, they have recommend one on the other end of Pleasant Street too. They got a lot of requests there as well.
Doing upper and a lower.
We are doing paving that, so it's gonna be smoother, so.
How do they stand up with the 18-wheeler?
That would be my only question. Like on the regular traffic side, there's a lot of speeding up on my section of the road.
Yes,
And lately it's been four-wheelers and dirt bikes
Right.
included.
especially at night.
I don't, I don't know, like, 'cause they need to be able to make the turn,
Right.
and I don't know if that would interfere with the turn or not. I think,
I'm sure we could place them so as to not interfere with the turn, but also have some traffic calming.
yeah,
I mean, it held up alright on Water Tower Road, and there was a lot of 18-wheelers.
yeah, I think it's
Well,
just more
straight
having,
over it,
like,
right?
Yeah.
having it
Yeah.
just far enough away from East Street so that when they turn, it's not a problem.
Won't tear it up.
But, they also
So we're gonna do the
wheels than a regular car, so.
3 on Orchard again, right?
Did we do 3 or 2?
Right.
Did we do 3 last year?
These are Damien's, the dip, and then
Oh, I forgot
Midas.
about the dip. I avoided that one.
I think a lot of people there, that was the point.
Do you think we have 2 more sets after that,
I
or
believe
3?
so, we can look, I believe it's two,
Do like an upper Pleasant, lower Pleasant?
yeah.
What about a water bill?
We had some residents come in that conceded and said they're okay, not having anything.
We'll take the speeding over the horns and.
Yeah.
Be a good guess.
Are they long enough like on Orchard Street, sometimes people could drive into the parking area.
We tried to fix
Yeah,
that.
we tried to rearrange it so
The
that
sign should be, the sign that says, because we have to have a sign before
Yeah.
and then a sign added, so we try to put the sign right there too,
So
So you
it
can't
makes it
really-
harder for them,
to maneuver around, yeah.
unless they want to take a fender off.
Good evening, guest.
I'm good with one upper, one lower.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead, sorry, first.
Nope.
We're done with that?
Yeah, if we do 3 on Orchard, 1 Upper Pleasant, 1 Lower Pleasant, I'll take care of her stockpile of speed bumps.
Ken doesn't think he'd probably get to the Ballards and the flower pots by Dickinson until after Dairy Days anyway, but there were some requests from some bus drivers as well. So I figure we'll just wait till after Dairy Days to get them in.
School's
and
pretty
then
well
school will be
done.
pretty much done by then.
By then it shouldn't be snowing.
Hopefully.
It should be.
Of course.
Yeah. Just a
You might
heads
wanna
up
wait till it
there.
stops snowing.
And Ken is getting on line striping again, waiting for weather to break, but we should have line striping done by middle end of May.
Were we
Definitely.
just gonna stick with the same guy, or are we gonna try to get some?
Ken's gonna try, there aren't a lot around,
I
unfortunately.
know there's a gentleman out of Swanton that reached out to me last year. Said he'd be interested in having.
Do you wanna give me the name,
Yeah, I
I'll have
can-
Ken
yeah.
research
It
it?
didn't last any better.
I was hearing somewhere that the formulas for the paint might have changed.
Gary had said that last.
Yeah.
So it's possible that some of what we're dealing with, not necessarily an
The
issue
applicator.
of who's putting it down, but the
What they're
formula of the
using.
paint. Yep.
That's on them, I guess.
Yeah, I think it had some requirement changes and stuff with of how they create the paint, and maybe it's not holding up.
One suggestion, we use the same paint the cow plow uses.
That's
That's
what
easy.
he
That
says.
works. That
That stuff seems to
stays.
say. Alright, so we're done with speed bumps and flower pots, bollards?
Yeah, and again, if you have anybody for striking, let me know, and I can.
Yeah.
I'll have Ken track it down.
Yeah.
Um,
So we got a guest online, not sure who's there, if they wanna chime in on anything. Or if they're just here to watch, it's fine too.
Stalker.
Next on the agenda, motion to move 24 and 32 Main off the water fund asset list and move to the general fund.
So we ran the FEMA grant through the water department, just the ins and the outs. But because of that, it got put onto the water asset depreciation list. And I was talking with our auditors with KBS the other day, because I want to get it moved, because it's going to be used as a park. They said in order for us to do the journal voucher that we need to do, they would need a motion from the board to make the change of just taking the properties off of the asset list for the water department and move it to the general fund since it's gonna be a park.
That's just those two across the road, not this one.
Correct, it's just 24 and 32.
I'm not set up.
It's just to allocate them to the appropriate asset list.
I'll move them.
Alright, it's been moved. David second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Abe's Cabin, follow-up discussion after talking with the Brown family.
So, Shirley brought this to our attention a bit ago, and I brought it to you folks. I reached out to Rosalind, and I guess she spoke with the family. And so, if you remember, well, if you do remember or not, but in the deed, so it's deeded to the village, the Abe's Cabin is deeded to the village. However, there was a caveat in here, it says only, however, so long as the lands and premises are used as a local museum or an archive of local history, and when the lands and premises are no longer so used, and in such event, the lands and premises shall be revert to the grantors and their heirs in assigns. So the question was, to the Browns was, do you want it or not? Type of thing. because we'd rather, I guess, fully take over the deed and get that removed, or, you know, or do you want it and we'll be done with it, I guess, typically. Rosalind reached back out and said that they're fine, we can have it, so I would start the process. I'd have to work with her, and I guess, I believe the player they use for this is Vaughn, so we'd work with them to remove that portion of the deed. I don't know what it's gonna take yet, but we would remove that.
That'd be good.
So so the understanding is the Lions rent it for $1 a year, and the Historical Society rents it for $1 for the year.
I'm not sure that the Historical Society hasn't really rented it,
Right.
but they use it, they keep it open during the summer months,
I think
on the
the-
weekends.
Yeah, the Lions Club, I believe, pays the
Pays
rent
it.
less than.
Yeah.
It's $1.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
They do payment plans?
Yeah.
monthly.
so I guess the question is, if you're good with it, do you want to move forward with that process, or do you want to give it back to the Browns, or?
Yeah, I think it's a good thing to have in the village. People like to see it when it's open.
Also gonna, depend on who's gonna do the maintenance on it. Is the village gonna step up and do maintenance? Are they gonna try to have the Lions Club
At this point, it's, As
donate
is.
some more money to it? I know that, I don't believe that the Historical Society has the money at the present time to do anything to maintain it.
I mean, at this point, I think it's gonna kind of stay as is, and then as a board, if we want to
Yeah.
decide to make changes, or if anybody wants to step up and do more volunteering. I know, according to Shirley, she looked at a couple grants, but when she presented the paperwork and they saw that the village wasn't the end owner, that this caveat was in here,
Yeah,
that they kind of backed off.
Makes
So
sense.
once this gets changed, we'd also be able to go for some grant money, to look at fixing it up.
yeah, that sounds good.
But at this point, as far as everything else, nothing would change. I mean, the Lions would still, unless somebody comes to us and says they're done or whatever. It's just to get it into our name if you folks believe that's the way to go.
So we need a motion on that?
Yes.
So a motion to follow up and get the deed for Abe's cabin strictly into our name, I guess is how I would word that.
Nullified or,
Make the motion.
Another move,
I'll second that.
Weird seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Alright, let's talk about selling of digger truck. Baseline price for bid.
We would like to get rid of the old digger truck. It's currently just parked up in the fence for the substation, but we don't have a use for it at this point in time. There was talks of converting it into a chipper truck, but with a new bucket truck coming, the guys have said they thought that the old Dodge from 105 would be a better kind of body for that, if we're gonna move forward with that at that point. So we would like to get rid of that truck. I have the request for bids pretty much ready to go. I didn't know if you wanted to put a bottom line minimum bid. We purchased the truck for $9,000 in 2021, and we've dumped probably $2-3 grand worth of stuff into it. It is a 1994. I have pictures I can have you look at. I mean, overall, it's not terrible. There's not a ton of mileage.
Is it certifiable again?
no.
No, that's what I thought.
No,
No.
it didn't. The boom is not. The boom did not
Right,
pass
that's what I
the
thought.
I think
test.
I think it would actually pass an inspection, but the boom wouldn't pass it.
Right.
The truck itself would pass the inspection.
Right.
The boom,
Do you wanna sell it with the boom on it then?
Yeah,
Or
we
would
don't
there
wanna-
be a
yeah,
lot of
We don't want to
liability
do it.
attached
I
to
mean,
it?
if you scroll, you can kind of look at the pictures. No, we would want to sell it as is. We don't want to have to do the legwork or pay to dismantle or anything. It's take
I
it.
don't know, you may know, Sam, I mean, suppose, the guy said that the engine would make a motor. I think it's
They say the
like
truck
$400.
hurts.
466 must be.
Oh, yeah, keep on.
It's an 18-inch auger. I
It's
mean,
not
it's not in
terrible.
terrible shape.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how you feel
Oh,
about
I know that.
that. Okay. Probably very familiar with that one, but, so basically I just, A, are you okay with me putting it out there to sell, and B, do you want a bottom line bid or just see what we get for bids and go from there? I don't, nothing to me either way, we own it, so.
I'm kinda alright with just throwing it out there, see what we get. I mean,
And not have a
it's
little bit
not
requirement.
doing us any good sitting there, paying insurance on it. No?
I pulled everything off there,
Okay.
cause it's not operable, we can't use it, so it's
We
literally,
had to, or they wouldn't.
it's like
use
a
it.
giant paperweight.
I guess, I don't know, what's everybody else think?
I'm fine, just
Fine, as is.
see what we get.
The board accepts the bids, right?
Yes. And I have it very clear in the bid that we can refuse any and all bids and put it back out if we want to, so.
Yeah, we've done
Yeah.
that before. I think when we sold a Chevy pickup, right? This was a long time ago. It was the old meter reader truck. We didn't get very many good bids on it, so we didn't sell it.
And if you guys have recommendations on where to kind of ship it out to get it out there, we will hit all the social media sites, but if you have other places, or else.
Marketplace seems to be the hot ticket. If you could list
I don't know how we
it
can
as,
manage.
We'll just put it on our Facebook page.
right.
I don't know how she's gonna manage that.
Which-
Well, you don't
they
accept
call it
bids that
offers.
way,
Yeah,
but you
just-
could.
Yeah, no, we'll put it
Market
on the
it.
Facebook page, not Marketplace, but we'll put it on our Facebook page.
Yes.
I'll put it on Front Porch Forum. Okay.
They said
Do
really
we need
interesting.
a motion to sell the thing or put it out to RF?
I think we make,
Can we just, I think we just motion to sell it, or to agree to sell it for whatever
Yeah.
the bid comes in.
Okay. So,
When the bids are in. And,
perfect.
I mean, I know we're not a huge rush, but do you have a specific timeline you want on this? I mean, it's,
By May or.
But it'd be nice to look at it for a May meeting, yeah.
okay.
Alright. A special meeting on April 22nd for bid opening of Church Street sidewalk project.
I'll take this one and take the blame. Before we started the discussions on going to one meeting, the RFP that I have out for Church Street sidewalk stated that we would open bids at the 22nd meeting and we would notify the 23rd. So I guess we asked is if we could please have a special meeting on the 22nd to stay true to the RFP, otherwise I'll have to amend it. And I will take the blame. I did that RFP before
Yeah, you didn't know.
we changed it, but out of fairness to all the contractors trying to get their schedule done, I don't really want to push them off into May.
just throwing that out there, I'm not planning on being here for the 22nd, so just to make sure we have a quorum.
I mean,
It's school vacation weeks.
I don't know, I
I'm
guess
okay
you
with
can
the
technically
22nd.
move the time of it too, because if it's a special meeting,
Again,
so whatever works for the majority to review, whatever bids. Because bids are due the 18th, this Friday, and we're doing an on-site walkthrough. John and Ken are gonna be there for it, because, steep sidewalk.
Yeah.
But, and then, yeah, the bids are due the 18th.
I'm already coming in on the evening of the 22nd.
same time.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. And, sorry.
Oh, they're the same copy. I'm like, everyone has the same exact one.
Yeah.
Man, these guys are good.
So, these are the bid openings for the 4 paving projects that we discussed. Just to refresh your memory. Back here behind wastewater, the driveway at the Trout Brook in the dip, driveway, the patch up on Pearl and Main in the water break this winter, and then that section on Pleasant Street Like I said, it's probably about Sandy Murphy's driveway down to the corner of Brown. Unfortunately, Eli wasn't close. So,
Got it.
we have to look through it all. The least expensive was, Gray's out of Newport.
Can I ask kind of a silly question? When I do the minutes, do you want me to put what the bid was for each one, or just which one we're going with?
I think just one we're going with.
Just the
Yeah, I
one that
think
we're going with?
yeah.
Okay,
And when you make a motion, I think you state for that amount.
yes. Okay,
So there's like $30,000 difference from the lowest bid to the highest bid.
Yeah.
Do you have a sense of why there's such a difference in their pricing?
Probably because the guy with the high bid is busy.
Is Dizzy?
Busy.
Okay,
They bid themselves
They're,
out of the ground, like,
got it.
their mobilization
Yes.
was like almost double everybody's on each project too. Dawn and I kind of went through this afternoon and looked to see where the big difference was. I know that was one thing that jumped out at me, and some of the prices for the quantities were all drastic.
So you need a motion to accept one of these?
Exactly.
I move we accept Gray's with a total of all 4 projects at $62,956.
alright, it's been moved to accept Gray's paving, for $62,956. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Alright, it's been moved and seconded, is there any further discussion?
Well, I was just gonna ask, do you have any experience with,
I don't, Gary really, I mean, he kind of, this is Gary's last duty, was work through this with us. I mean, he's never had an issue with them,
Yeah, he didn't have anything negative to say
Yeah.
about them at all.
no, I mean, we basically went, we put it out to a few other folks and we didn't get a response, but, it was kind of off his list of folks, so.
cool. All we needed here.
Alright, all those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Any other business?
I have two quick things. One, I talked to Robert DeLorme the other day with the American Legion. I don't know if anybody's noticed, the monuments in the park are looking pretty rough. They need a good scrubbing. So I'm gonna reach out to find out about what type of cleaner and what we should be using on to one of the monument companies. And basically asked him if he wanted to team up with us, depending on what the cost of everything was, and then just basically elbow grease. I know the wall in the front is really bad, and then there's another monument off in the Siskiyou. And the goal is to get that done before Memorial Day events, to have everything. I did let Ken know. Ken and I started talking about this last year, and we just, neither one of us had time to actually follow through with it. Bob stopped in the other day when he was dropping that stuff off, so I touched base with him, and he said he didn't think it would be an issue at all, and I may even reach out to the ROTC kids too for some good elbow grease.
Some community service type
Yeah.
stuff, you know?
Yeah,
Folks
yeah,
who seniors
Cameron and
that
I
need
did the
them,
large
community
monument with just Clorox and water,
okay, that's good, thank you.
and a fairly stiff brush, and then rinsed it.
Okay, that's very good to know, thank you, Sandy. The other thing is the annual, our FERC line of credit renewal. Starting to work on that with People's Trust. Deidre did call me today. They would need a motion from the board just to have it in the minutes to roll it over again. So they've been really good to us because this line of credit, typically you only have a line of credit for a year. Well, ours, they've been rolling over every year until the FERC license is done. So it's kind of the annual request time of year of if we could please make a motion to roll that over for another year.
I move.
I'll second.
Alright, been moved and seconded to roll the LOC over for the FERC. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Moved. Check.
Thank you.
If any of the trustees wanna join, we're probably gonna put a team, if we have enough, we could do 2 teams, if there's room, for the American Legion. Probably more League American Legion stuff. The golf tournament, I think it's May,
It's usually the first one of the year up there.
16th, yeah, May 16th, so, let me know.
I can run your carpet.
If the snow's come.
Yeah, well, last year we messed up.
Sandy, it's gonna be gone.
Look out the window.
I know.
That's all I have.
I had a question, and to keep on the joke of the snow, today's like not the most appropriate day with the question, but when do we do the street sweeping?
They're actually May, well, actually Ken, they may go out, if this stays, they may go out tomorrow or tomorrow afternoon. When you kinda gotta watch, they have to do it either early in the morning or at night. There's not a lot of cars on the road, but they may use this snow to
Keep the
keep the
dust
dust
down.
down.
Yeah, and then it'll rain a little later, that would be good, it's really so dusty,
Yeah,
and just like it's kicking stuff up in the air, and, yeah.
Yeah, I know Kenny's been talking about it for a couple of weeks, but playing Russian roulette with the radar for the weather.
Yeah, the
so.
park looks nice, I noticed they sweeped up the park, and it looks really nice down there, but the sidewalks and the roads are just.
yeah, they clean around the park, but they may head out with a brush tomorrow.
Cool.
Alright. Anybody else? Hearing nobody else, take a motion to move into executive session for the purpose of discussing personnel in which premature public knowledge may compromise the position of the municipality.
Move.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you for letting me hang out.
Hey, you didn't walk here, did you?
I hope not.
Well, it's snowing too hard to drive.
Whoever is the guest, I am gonna end this now as we're heading into executive.